Hey guys! So, today we are going to talk about getting your first job as a junior and some things that I think that you should remember when you're looking for your first job. So let's get into it. Now, first things first. My friend, you are going to have a little bit of a scare. You're probably already a little bit scared, and I want you to know that it's okay. Everybody's scared when they get their first programming job because, let's be honest here, you're getting into something that you're not that secure in, most likely, if you're just coming out of school. You've just kind of got your bearings. Maybe you're still very unsure about what it actually means to work in IT, and trust me, you are not alone. I was scared shitless when I was looking for my first job. And most people, I think, can relate to that. So it's absolutely natural. The thing I want you to remember is that the first job is the scariest. After that, it gets much easier. And by the time you had, depending on your career choices, maybe your second or third job, it won't really bother you all that much. I want you to remember that the reason why you are scared is because you don't know the industry. It's because you have all this doubt, most likely. That doubt is just a symptom of you not having the experience that is required in order to feel that sensation of security that most of the seniors are feeling. Now, their security comes from the fact that they know their stuff and they know the industry. And when you know, things are not unknown. And if things are not unknown, they feel secure. You feel that you understand them. They may not be to your liking, but you understand them. And understanding breeds emotional security. So, that's number one. You're going to be scared, and it's okay. It's natural. The second thing that you should know about getting your first job is that the first job is a little bit trickier. And it's only because of a few things. You may know a few of these things, or they may feel obvious to you, but I want to touch on them regardless, because I think they're important. The first thing is that since you lack the experience, you may get it into your head that, oh, how am I supposed to convince some company that they should invest in me? Because it is an investment. But that's also your strength. Think about it this way. If you make the mental mistake of thinking that, hey, companies only hire really skilled software developers or people who are much better than me, think about that again. Now, business is business. Business is about money. Business is about resources. It's about income, creating revenue, and reducing cost. So think about this. If it was true that companies only hired truly senior, really skilled super coders, how would they get new staff into circulation? How would there be new programmers? So just think about that. If nobody is allowed to be a beginner, how do we get new people? You see, the mistake that you make when you think that people are only after, like software companies are only after more veteran programmers, is that you have no value. You have a value. It may not be as high if we think in coding terms as somebody with a lot more experience, but listen to this. Remember that a senior software developer, although they may be able to produce code faster and maybe of more quality, kind of depends on the senior, of course, they're expensive. They're very expensive. Senior software developers are rare and expensive. And right now, we are in the companies are in a tough position right now in the time that you and I are looking for a job. Being a software developer these days is actually pretty great because the deficit of people available on the job market is so massive that they're just trying to find people. Just anybody who can produce decent software. Remember, decent software. It's not about just being able to write a few lines of code, it's about being able to produce results. But remember, they're looking for people. And when an employer is looking for a programmer, they are considering more aspects than just the skill itself. Because as I said, remember, if it costs a lot to have a really senior person, then the employer has to make a cost value analysis. Is it worth this investment, all that money, to get a senior. Because if they have a few seniors on staff, technically it's actually much better for them to get more junior profiles. The reason why they want juniors like yourself is because you're cheap. The cost value ratio, remember, although the total amount of software quality that a senior is going to be able to produce is really, really high, remember that's a money value. The software that they produce is going to produce money for the company, but the cost of having that person is so high that the margin is still there. Like, there's a margin, and the margin is the thing that matters to the company when you come to a certain point. So if you think about that, so if it's about margin, in other words, how much good code can you produce that generates money for the company versus how much do you cost, you're actually there. You're on that scale. Remember, you're a junior. Although your code, like the amount of software that you are going to produce that is really, really good and is going to produce money for the company, may not be as high as a senior, the cost of you the cost to the company for having you is going to be lower. Therefore, your price margin or your revenue margin, whatever you want to call it, is going to be something that they have to consider. And a lot of companies actually do this. Right now at my company, we are looking for juniors. My boss is actually asking me, how many juniors can we train? Like me and my team, basically. How many juniors can you get into your team and still maintain productivity? Because that's how they can get more software developers for a decent cost ratio. So don't think that just because you don't code at the same level as a super senior, super person, that you don't have a value. You have a value. And if you are getting turned down by a company because you're a junior, let's remember something. Not every company has the same business model. What does that mean? Well, it means that some companies do business in a certain way. And the way that they do business and how they have structured their company determines whether or not they're allowing juniors to come into the company. Remember that every business is a little bit different and they all have different mindsets. Think about it this way. If you have a really, really small company, a consultancy of some sort, maybe your boss has put in his or her own money into this company. This is their livelihood. And they're just beginning as a company. It's a small fledgling company. I mean, your boss isn't an expert just because he manages the company. That's a learning journey for that person as well. And then you come and apply for a job and they simply don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the capabilities to train you. Now, if they turn you down for that position, you're most likely going to blame yourself and think that, oh damn, I'm some shit, I can't do this. Don't do that to yourself. Look for another company. It's gonna hurt, but don't make the mental mistake to think that just because one or two companies can't take you on, that it's all down to you. Because it's not. It has to do with the company as well. There are plenty of companies who have invested time and effort and they have the sort of money that they need in order to train junior developers. And they do so because of what I said, the cost-benefit ratio. They have calculated that they can actually gain money from educating juniors, and then they have cheaper labor that still produces results that are going to net them more income. That's the analysis that they do. So, what you can do in order to apply and kind of get a job at one of those sorts of companies is to keep on applying and show that you are interested. Ask yourself, like after you're done with school and you just come out into the workforce, ask yourself, what is it that I like about programming? What things are interesting to me? Take some extra courses, do some extra work, maybe make a portfolio, something like that. Some stuff, because your CV is going to be paper thin in the first few years. That's okay. There are other ways that you can communicate that you are interested, because that's the biggest thing, guys. For employers who are taking a risk, quote unquote, on a junior, what they want to see is that you are interested, that you have a desire to learn, that you want this. If you act as if you don't give a shit, that's not going to help you. But if you can communicate through action. Remember, words are not as powerful as action. Action is taking an extra course in something, watching videos and getting a better, like extending your own education beyond that of just the school, what you learned in school. Those are things that stand out. And if you do those sorts of things, trust me, if you apply to several different companies, you are going to get a job. So breathe, look at what you can do to enhance your CV, and remember, you have value. Have a great day.